Hello, good morning. My name is Eduardo Badillo. I'm a student of the IEXPRO University. I'm studying the master degree in English teaching, and today I'm going to talk about the learning of a second language. Okay, I will continue with the presentation. Here we have the cover page of the presentation in PowerPoint, the learning of a second language. Here we have an schema from SKIA 1981. He presents an overview variables for language learning. As you can see, here we have 5 aspects: teaching, learner, and context are dependent. It means that they are correlated between them. And the other ones, learning and outcome, are independent, right? So, and teaching, it means that you, as a teacher, need to take into account aspects like the material, syllabus, and resources, because you need to choose the kind of materials, the the overall topics that you will teach during the course. The second one, learner, it depends on aspects like the age, the personality of your students, the cognitive style. Maybe you could apply a talk with your students to know more about them, or maybe an interview, or maybe our diagnostic exam, maybe to know about the background knowledge. And the third aspect is context. It refers to the the structure of the classroom. It means like if it has windows, if it has water, if it has electricity, that kind of services that a normal school has. Let's move on to learning and outcome. Here they are very similar, and it depends on the way that our students learn. It means maybe they have a conscious or unconscious process. So you as a teacher need to identify what kind of processes are, and you could bring some strategies or activities that promotes that learning in a good way, right? And finally, the outcome, it's really important. Here we have the proficiency and errors. It depends on the way you teach and your students behave in a real life situations using the language. Okay, here we have some individual factors in the learner's development: affective, cognitive, and others. As I said before, some the same aspects that you need to take into account, right? Because if you as a teacher don't know these aspects, you have a disadvantage to teach a second language, right? Okay, there we have two concepts: input and intake. They are very similar, but there is a little bit different between them, right? So input, it's a general information that I learn get, right? And intake, it means it's a little part of the overall information, but that is really processed in that moment, that is getting, right? I hope that you can understand the difference between. Okay, let's continue with interaction. Is the discourse created by the learner and the interlocutor. It means that we need two people to create a discourse, and the result of this talk, of this discourse created between them, data is the result of this interaction. It's basically as normal people do in different situations, and they have to interact between them to create or to obtain something that you need to know, right? As I said before, there is something important, that is the environment, right? The context when you are learning a second language. So, according to Ellis, 1985, some features of the optimal learning are that you have the high quantity of input, communicative needs, control over topic, adherence here and now, means. I'm gonna explain you briefly. The communicative needs is related to take into account the learner needs. Control over topic, it refers to you as a teacher need to be a guide in your classroom, because you are the facilitator, right, in your classroom, and you need to control the behavior of your students. Another aspect is adherence to here and now. It refers to the time and place and the exposure to a high amount of directive and extending utterances. It refers to use commands, to use some request, that kind of discursive um, task or activities, right? Here we have with the role of formal instruction in the learning. So I think that it's really important, because when you are learning a second language, all the information that you could get from your teacher is the commands, it's the well, you can get that information when you interact with your teacher and when you with your partners in the classroom. So I think that is a good way to get more information, and you could use your your language or your knowledge about the language in appropriately, right? Okay, let's continue with the topic. There are three different positions of classroom in second language acquisition. So there you have non-interface, interface position, and variability positions. It means that you could, it depends on the way you are exposed to the language, right? And there is crashing, for example, states that there are a difference between acquisition and learning, and some others definitions about the acquisition and learning, and how they are depending on the context and the interaction that you as a teacher and learner produces in a classroom, right? Finally, to talk about the bilingualism, it refers to a person to speak two languages, and it refers to how a person can learn a language, maybe in their childhood or in their adulthood, And the multilingualism, it's basically to a person who talk or who speak in more than three languages. And it refers to how they are getting all the information that you know of a language, and all the theory and all the information that I presented before becomes in a person that you could call a multilingual person or a bilingual person. And that's it. Thank you very much. I hope that you enjoyed this brief presentation. There's too much information and I try to be brief, right? Thank you.